Hello and welcome to this episode of Waking Up Wealthy. My name is Isabella. I am your host, and today we're going to talk about 5 common business mistakes people make that may be stopping you from building wealth. And I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a lizard in my room. um, but I wanted to do this episode today because I've been meeting with several business owners and maybe people who are newer to business who are just now scaling a business. And I wanted to offer advice because I know there's a lot of contradictory advice out there about how to manage your money, how to set up your money. There's lots of different models, but I wanted to specifically answer the question around not so much the organization of your finances, because there are many models out there that you can use. For example, there is profit first model, which I absolutely love and I believe in myself, but really about building wealth through your business. That's really what I want to focus on today. And people make a lot of mistakes when starting a business because you're so focused on scaling and on building that you don't necessarily integrate the financial pieces until later. And so I'm urging you, or I'm inviting you to think about having that vision early on. So, 5 popular pieces of business advice that are cock blocking you from building wealth. Okay, so this is what I want to focus on today. Um, Number one is what people say, reinvest everything back into the business. So, in your first years of business, a lot of people pour all of the money they make back into their businesses, which is incredibly risky when you consider that 50% of businesses fail during those first 5 years, right? So if you're putting away all of your money, if you're investing all of your money back into the business, right? Whether it's marketing, ads, personal growth, business mentorships, buy investment if your business fails. And in fact, like I, yeah, it just is a high risk kind of investment. So and there is a point at which you're going to be putting a lot of your money, you're going to be leveraging the money that's coming in. You're going to be wanting to pour that back into your business. Absolutely. But you want to think about diversification. And I've talked about diversification many, many times. And I just want to I will die on this hill because having your money spread out, right, in different areas, just like squirrels do, is the best way to go. Like, just do what squirrels do what nature does. um, so your business should be creating enough profit so that you can move into other asset classes, right? So you have the profit that does go back into your business, but when you reach a point where you have a little bit of that overflow, you want to be investing into mutual funds, real estate, perhaps, cash value life insurance, a well-funded retirement account. Like if you have an IRA, like let's say a SEP IRA, or you opened up a Roth IRA through your LLC, you want to be max funding those, right? So then you work with the taxes piece. I think if you are self-employed, you can put 25% of your income into a SEP IRA, right? So you have that, and then you can lower your tax liability that way. But you are investing it in something that's paying you into the future, that's growing for you. So the real wealth begins when profit leaves your business, because yes, a portion of your profit will go back into marketing, will go back into ads, will go back into lead generation, um, will go back into business mentorship, absolutely. But you also want to set a portion aside that goes into investments. So the second piece of business advice that is cock blocking you from building wealth is this idea of like buying sort of like these get rich quick stocks, right? Like meme stocks, for example. So investing in trends, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks that are trending right now, is essentially gambling. if you're looking for like a quick short-term growth, I'm not the person to talk to. You can ignore this advice. I am a long-term marathon runner type of investor. So diversification and looking at your long-term goals. You want to spread your risk and let compounding do the heavy lifting. So you want to give your money time and stability. And even with crypto, I don't invest in meme coins, even though, they have their moon, they moon and then they drop off and you can make money on the moon. I'm not interested in that. That my nervous system does not like that. I don't buy meme stocks. I'm I'm really looking into setting up a strong financial foundation for myself, and a strong financial foundation is also a strong nervous system. I don't need a roller coaster ride. Like my life is crazy enough, and I'm sure your life is crazy enough that you don't need a roller coaster ride. So if your total assets are $100,000 or less, you want to build that strong financial foundation through, having disability insurance. You want to have your debt paid down. You want to be making, have that SEP IRA. You want to have some foundational pieces to that plan before you start investing in riskier stocks, right? So you want to have those investment accounts, the mutual funds, cash value life insurance, those types of things in place. Number three, the third piece of popular business advice that I see a lot and that I actually talk about, but there's nuance here, right? The wealthy have multiple income streams. This is absolutely true. And I see this get like misunderstood. And this is the way that I see it often get misunderstood. So when I say the wealthy have, I don't know, 7 streams of income, I'm talking they have dividend income, they have real estate income, they have, I don't know, maybe some other passive income through another business, or maybe like affiliate income. Um, I don't know, you name it. Maybe they have, maybe they invested in another market, right? Outside international investments. So having multiple streams of income, in my opinion, is incredibly sexy. I aspire to that, and I'm working on it. Um, but what I see people doing that I think is a mistake is juggle multiple businesses at the same time. So they juggle multiple businesses and ventures, none of which are really bringing in money because they are too diversified. Their energy is too diversified. They are spread too thin. So, for example, trying to rent out a room in your home through Airbnb while trying to start a soap making company and selling pies out of your home, that's not multiple streams of income. That sounds like ADD on crack. That sounds like a bunch of distractions. So, you want to start with one focused stream of income that you can scale, and you want to get that to a certain level to then have it like when it's running with a little bit less of your, like when I talked about in the last episode, I talked about leveraged income. So when you get that particular stream of income to a place where it is leveraged and you can step back from that because you've created more time through that initial energy and time investment, then you can start on another venture. So you are creating multiple streams of income, but you're not creating them all at the same time. So start with one focus stream that you can scale and then diversify into others. All right. Piece of advice number 4, or the fourth common business mistake stopping you from building wealth, is keep your salary low to reduce taxes. Okay, so I want to say here, I don't like paying taxes. I pay as little tax as possible with the help of tax magicians that I pay well to do all of that for me. But what I see a lot of people doing is paying themselves way too little in order to save on taxes. Your I want you to remember that your personal income is what qualifies you for credit. It's what qualifies you like for your investment capacity that eventually grows wealth. So pay yourself like an executive, not like an intern. You want to make sure that you want to get yourself invest in a tax strategist so that you can stop looking poor on paper or trying to, get one over on the IRS or on the government. You want to be investing in the SEP IRA so that you can reduce your tax liability that way. So part of the way that you're setting up your investments are going to be related to how you pay taxes. Okay. All right. Advice. Sorry. I'm still getting over an illness here. So, um, piece of advice number 5. They say leverage debt to hire the best mentors in the business, like the best mentors in the market. So this piece of advice goes hand in hand with reinvesting in your business. I see a lot of people making the mistake of hiring big names. And I understand that big name folks have probably really well streamlined systems. They have a fantastic customer journey, slick. Their funnels are like very slidey. They like sort of like move you through very, very quickly, easy in terms of tech. But for most folks that are starting out in business, you don't need the highest level business mentor. You need somebody that's maybe a couple of steps ahead of you, because sometimes we hire people who are 10 steps ahead and we're still needing to get to step number 5 or 6 out of 100. And they often forget what it's like at your level, so they can't necessarily coach you at that level. They're way beyond that and they can't coach you at that level. So you're going to want to hire people that are only a couple steps ahead of you and maybe they are successful. They can show the receipts, but they're not at that level, right? And so there's where you have a little bit more, you can scaffold your success to theirs. The other piece around this that is more having more to do with money and less to do around discernment is, for most people, you're going to have to leverage debt because, you know, I talk to my housemate a lot about, what you need in order to start out in business. And oftentimes you need capital. You need $15,000 or $20,000 to invest in those mentors, in the systems, in the on-ramp, just the business overhead and the email marketing and the tech help and I don't know, the people who are just going to help to just teach you how to do it, the mentorships and the programs, the group programs. So most people don't have $20,000 that's sitting around to be able to do that. And what I see a lot of people doing and having to do is leverage debt, which is fine, right? You're leveraging debt. Maybe you're using credit cards or maybe zero interest credit cards to be able to hire those mentors, hire the right mentors, and get the marketing support, get the tech support to be able to get your business off the ground. And like getting help with funnels and all that kind of stuff. But I see too many people taking out huge loans and high interest loans, maxing out high interest credit cards with these high ticket mentors and programs that are not going to produce the results, i.e., the profit that you're wanting to see. So I think that you really need to see yourself clearly where you are in the process and then use both the discernment to hire the right mentor and then do it with a zero interest credit cards. Or maybe you save up some money, or maybe I don't know, there's different ways. I talked in another episode, I talked about taking out if you're currently working in your part or full-time employment and you're sort of building a business as a side hustle and building it up to a certain point so that you can leave your employment, or if you have another source of income and you're looking to um, build a business slowly, right? And then sort of leave that or have it as another stream of income, you may want to do something like a small business loan or something like that, like a bank loan that has a smaller interest rate versus um, like PayPal loans and Venmo loans that are usually really high interest. They may have like a zero interest period. I know PayPal, there are some PayPal loans that where you can pay them back based on the profit that you're bringing in. So they take a percentage of profit, and that seems like a great idea. It pulls from your income, but it doesn't necessarily pull in the same way like a credit card does. So definitely like leverage zero interest credit cards. And so you want to make sure that your credit is relatively decent before embarking on that journey. So getting your credit score up to a certain point before starting a business, starting a venture of your own, I think is really important. So something that you want to be taking into account in terms of like phase of life and where you are. You want to think about like if you are currently declaring bankruptcy, now would not be the time to start a business. Now would be the time to get a job, get steady, build your credit, and then start the business. Hope you're understanding what I'm saying. Okay, so again, going back to the mentorship question, be discerning about who or what you invest in. Your smartest business moves don't need to be expensive to be good. Okay, really important. And you want to be strategic about who you hire and when you hire them. Okay, so you want to be very clear and see yourself clearly in the journey of entrepreneurship. It can take people 2 to 3 to 4 to even 5 years to get to a place where they're like, okay, I feel like I have steady income coming in. It's the long game. Investment is the long game, and a business is a long-term relationship. So it's not a get rich quick scheme. People want to start making income right away, and it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes there is upfront, energetic, emotional, financial investment that you don't see the results until like 6 months in, or even a year in, or a year and a half in. It can be incredibly frustrating to see that and to be like, I don't see the results, but I'm putting so much, it's not working, right? And this is what a lot of people complain about. It's not working and they want to give up. And sometimes businesses fail because you give up, which is why you have like the nervous system resilience piece as sort of the the energetic investment that keeps you in the game. If you know you have an amazing business idea that has been tested in the market, then keep going and don't give up. Okay? All right. I hope that was helpful for you, and I'd love to hear your feedback on that. So message me, write a comment if you see this on YouTube, and subscribe to get notified when other episodes come out. All right. Take care of yourselves and your business. All right. Bye bye.